Okay. I think we're ready to get our Wednesday afternoon started. I'm Alexis Willis, the Director of Small Business and Entrepreneurship for the Chamber. I run the gold mine at the corner of Manufacturers in Cherokee, you probably know as the INCubator. And monthly we host talks with industry experts called Experience Talks. So welcome. Thank you for spending this power hour with us. And we are talking with someone that I have talked to before during Startup Week back in October, and super high energy and like the quintessential startup guy. And this is G. What's happening?
Hey guys.
Okay, first. Will you pronounce your name fully and correctly for us? We're gonna put it on record. It's gonna be on record now. How to pronounce your name?
So this is how I tell everyone. First, everybody just calls me G, so it's like the letter G, but spelled J-I. That tends to mess with everybody's head. And then I actually have, we don't do middle names, so it's actually G Hoon, but rarely anyone calls me that. And then my last name is spelled H-E-O, which is Hotel Echo Oscar, but it's pronounced like E-Ha, like when you're like saying E-Ha, but like H-A-W. That's how it's pronounced. So it's a little bit odd.
Okay, G-A, say it one more time.
Ji-hoon and then Ha.
Ha.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You got it.
Yeah. I was going to nail it for this talk for the record.
Yeah.
And for everyone else. All right. Tell us about TESBROS.
Yeah. So TESBROS came out, like you said, like any other startup story. It was, I was stuck in traffic in Atlanta, actually teaching a class. I was a professor in marketing and journalism. And I had this idea. I had bought my Tesla not too long ago, always been an early adopter. So I love technology and just getting into it. And I was like, man, this car, every time my friend gets in it, they don't really know how to exit the door because the Teslas don't actually have door handles. It's a button. And that's really weird. So it's kind of similar to Corvette too. And I was like, man, they need to create a button or some sort of like, I don't know, label. So I ended up, right after my class, I ended up going to Joann's, it's a craft store, or Michael's, actually all of them, and Hobby Lobby. And I ended up grabbing like 20 different types of vinyl, and I had no idea what a vinyl was. And then I got scissors, and then I just cut some weird pieces. I did have a design background, so that definitely helped a lot. And then we created our first door label, and then we launched it on a Facebook group, on a Tesla Facebook group. And it was just more like, hey, just made this. I'm probably, maybe you have the same issue that I do where no one knows how to open your door, so here's a label. And I started getting like 1, 2, 3, and then 10, 15 people just messaging me and going, hey, I want it. Can I PayPal you? I was like, sure, you can PayPal, Venmo. And then it got to the point where I'm just getting like flooded with messages. And this was like $7 I was selling it for on Facebook. And I had been blogging prior to that called Tesla Bros. It was literally Tesla Bros because it was me and another bro talking about Teslas, and we had been writing content. So that's where the name came from. Okay. I know it's really cheesy, but that happened. Yeah. That happened. And then we got a e-commerce platform set up within about 20 minutes. I have a deep coding background, so I was able to get something up on WordPress, and we sold 300 units in about less than 2 days or something like that. So okay. we're like, oh crap, this is validated. Like, this is definitely a market. So then we just kind of focused on that, and from there on, started out of my spare bedroom and then went to my living room, and then wife wasn't happy, so I went to the garage, and then ended up moving to Chattanooga in North Shore with a 1,000 square feet office. And then 2 months later, we're like, it's too small. So now we're at Amnicola, off the Coca-Cola factory here, and we're in a 3,000 square feet warehouse where we do all our design, manufacturing, and content, and pretty much everything housed it under one roof.
Nice. I want to touch on something that you mentioned. So you were a marketing professor.
Mm-hmm.
How important was marketing in getting those 300 units sold in 2 days? Like, did you build your audience first with the blog and had that for a decent amount of time before?
Uh, so this is unique. The way we launched, it was really weird because, yes, you would definitely build up a blog list and then definitely an email list. They call it like cold leads, warm leads and all that. And you pretty much warm them up and then you like hit them once they're warm, right? Um, this just kind of came from a good place. I was obviously like very plugged into the Tesla community and we did not plan anything. We just put it out there. And that's, I think, the best decision I made. Instead of like, I wasn't trying to make money necessarily. I was just kind of, this was exciting. This was fun. I love tinkering with new things. So we really didn't have a plan. We said, hey, like we should just put it out there and see what it likes, what people like. And the main thing for us was I had started several businesses prior to this. We needed to validate it, right? So our validation was, let's sell 100 units in 30 days. And if we can sell 100 units in 30 days, then we can really market this out. So that's what we did. And we sold 300 in 2 days. So then after that, yeah, we did some campaigns and we created a video. It was like one of those text videos. I don't know if you read a book called Story Brand, but we story branded the whole product and tried to give value up front. And then we did that video and it was caught by a lot of big media guys from like Tesla community. So like Teslarati, Inside EV, like all these guys took it and retweeted it on Twitter. And we quickly went up from 0 followers to like 1,200 in like a couple of weeks. So that helped a lot. But honestly, the best marketing is being real. So the fact that I was genuinely passionate about the EV industry, and sustainability, and also I just love the tech, helped a lot because I was able to connect with them almost instantly.
That's awesome. So how did the pandemic impact your company?
The pandemic actually, it definitely did impact, but I actually was going to Disney World that week when, everything got locked down and then Disney World got canceled. So I ended up going to Gatlinburg. And I remember all the stuff happening. I wasn't really looking at the news while I was on break. And I was calm. I'm typically very calm. It's very hard to get me kind of riled up or anything. And I was just like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I was already thinking about what we need to do. So I think the first thing we did was we told the team, like, we're not letting anyone go before we figure out a way. We're going to figure out a way no matter what. So we're really proud that we didn't let anyone go. And that was our mindset. Like, we're not letting anyone go because of COVID. I was very competitive. I didn't want COVID to win. And the other thing was the other question that came to us was like, what can we do, to the community, to our community here in Chattanooga? So right off the bat in March, we started cutting and then making face shields for hospitals. So we have a giant manufacturing cutter that can do like routing and stuff like that, and blades. So we ended up cutting about 10,000 face shields for hospitals here in they're all the three, like Park Ridge, Erlanger, and Memorial. And then we ended up creating like a group outside of this community thing. And I think we ended up like working with like Apple and, all these bigger companies. And we were kind of like the bridge in between because all these bigger companies weren't really doing anything at the beginning. They're like, oh, we need to cover our butts first. So, and then, they're bigger, so they can't be nimble and be fast. Whereas us, we can kind of shift right away. So that's like the main thing that we did. And then we just said, like, we're going to connect the event at a deeper level with our community and our Tesla community because everybody's home. Everybody is watching more content than ever. So we just wanted to stay true to what we do in our marketing and who we are as a company, take care of our people, connect with their team, and then connect with our community. And that ended up paying off for sure because I think we grew since March about like, I forget, it's like 4 to 6 times or something like that at one point. So we skyrocketed during that period. So we were very fortunate that we were able to say that. And we grew our team from 3 or 4 to now we're 8 in our team.
That was going to be one of my one of my questions. But I like what you said, that you weren't going to let anyone go and not let COVID win. But my next question is how do you build your team culture?
Yeah, so that's something that I've been struggling with for a very long time. I was at a university. I was quite supportive, but there was definitely a lot of toxicity in certain areas. And I took that as a learning and said, I don't want to build something around that. So I've taken some principles from Ray Dalio, who's a investor guy for, I think, BlackRock. And he has a book called Principles. And I set my principles up for the company and also as core values. Got that idea from Traction. And before we hire, we spend a lot of time making sure this person is the right person for the job. So we look at a couple things. Is number one, are they going to fit in with the culture, right, with our core values? And then we do this thing called they need to get the job, like they need to actually get what they're doing. They need to want what they're doing, like want it bad and be obsessive over what they're actually doing. And then they also need to have the capacity to do what they have to do. So if they fit all those three categories, we do bring them in. And then after the 30-day, our culture is the 30 days, the evaluation period. If you're in, we pretty much take care of you. So like once they're in, we pretty much cover everything. All benefits are 100% covered, from 401k to insurance, to life insurance. Like we provide all of that because we do have a very, I guess, aggressive take on bringing people in, because I'm just very selective of who I bring in, because if that person is always negative and he's bringing a lot of negative vibes, I can't work around that. I'm very much a very positive person. I'm in the borderline, like almost like dreaming state. So I really don't want it to, I think people say like, don't mess with my vibe. So I always want that positive culture here, that's supportive and also transparent. So like, I think in our company, like we share everything, like there's no hiding. And all my employees told me that I'm super blunt, which I proud about. But I don't hide anything. I pretty much, if the work is bad, I'll tell them that the work is bad. But then I'll tell them how they can make it better and so on. So culture is something that I've been working on and something that is really, really important to me, because without a good culture and without a good environment, I think people can't succeed, right? If you're always miserable or not happy, you just can't do your best work.
Yeah, agreed. Don't you think, Victoria?
I agree. I also love the transparency and the bluntness. I think that's important for a work environment.
Gee, whenever I'm too blunt, Victoria will come. Well, when we were in the office more often, she would come in my office with her little cup of tea.
That's funny.
Say, she's like, so do you think we need to put some time on your calendar for you to take a break?
Yeah.
So it helps. That transparency works both ways, right?
For sure.
So yeah, I appreciate. I think it does. I think help. Like solidify a team. Like when it builds trust, right? So you trust that you have one another's back. So then my next
question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Carla.
I was taking notes on what you were saying about how you were selecting your staff, and you said that they have to understand the job, they have to intuitively get it, they have to really want it bad. But what was the third thing you said you were screening for?
Capacity.
Capacity to do it.
Yeah, because they need to be, even if they get, so for to get it, want it is really hard to teach. Like you can't teach people how to want it. Get it is a little bit easier to teach because you could teach them skills and stuff like that. Like hard skills, but then the capacity to, that can mean a lot of different things, might just be physically they're not able to do it or something, or mentally they're not able to capably take high stress environment or be able to meet deadlines. Those are some of the things that I look at.
And in this past year, when you've been pivoting and changing and growing, how do you find time to do things like read books on values and principles?
Good question, Carla.
I find I'm working like from 9 to 7, which is probably what I was working before, but I'm not having 15 minutes in the car from here to there, and I'm not walking out to buy lunch somewhere. And I find it really hard to have any time, or else I lack the discipline to say, I'm going to chill and read this book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. I don't have a great balance, first of all. I need to be very honest about that. I'm getting better for sure. I have a little one coming in September, so like my mind is going like, hey, you need to get your things together and be more balanced. But typically I sleep about 3 hours a day. So I'm working probably like 100 plus hours a week. But I'm always listening. So I listen to at least like around probably 1 to 2 books a week. And when I'm working on stuff that's more mundane or something that I can listen while I'm doing something, then I'm listening. And also, I have very quick, I'm very quick in things I do. So I listen to books at 3 times speed. So it allows me to go through the book 3 times faster. So like this, last weekend, I think I listened to like 3 books in that span. So that helps a lot, just that speed. And then also, I think for learning, it's really important to take breaks. Like I just got back from San Diego. I don't take often. I'm trying to do more, but it's a reset time. And then when you reset time, you start to learn what what the most pressing things are. So let's say like, hey, like our most pressing thing is like, I'm not leading the team well. Then that's so important to you. So you need to make time to read a book or grow or talk to a mentor or something like that. And then make the time to actually do that. So, in the morning, I try to at least do my routine, try to get there earlier than everybody else, and then kind of get myself set and then leveled. And then everybody comes in and then, they'll have to ask for me and stuff like that. So it's not a direct answer, but I think listening will help you a lot. And then after that, like, if you really like that book, I read it multiple times. And I'll actually go to the actual book. I love physical copies and physical products. I'll actually read it, highlight it, take notes in my note, and then take that into consideration. And then also share my learnings with like my partner and then also the team members in our weekly meetings.
So Carla, I'm going to see you walking through the building with headphones, listening to books.
Well, that's interesting because I have not really listened. I guess I have started listening to one book that was on tape, The One Thing, that I would listen to when I walk, but I started that a long time ago and I haven't finished it. And I do a lot of writing and I can't listen to words. I can't listen to music that has lyrics when I'm writing because I'm concentrating. On the flip side of that, my husband and my daughters, they all have ADD. And I asked one of my daughters a while ago, how can you listen to that music when you're studying? And they need the lyrics and the music to take a piece of their brain so that they can concentrate on things they want to do. So it's interesting how different people's brains are set up so that they can either do that kind of multitasking or they can't do that kind of multitasking. And I think it's interesting that you listen to the books at 3 times the speed. Yeah, because it sounds like you have a very fast mental processing so that you can hear it and absorb it at 3 times the speed. Whereas other people need to hear it at the same speed and they're taking it in and absorbing it. And I'll bet from the things that you have already said that in general, you have a very high processing speed. And I think I have a higher processing speed than some people, which gets me to the right answer faster and it gets me to the wrong answer faster. Which really super irritates my family when I get to the wrong answer faster.
Thank you for that, Carla. So that actually was, I did jot down, I jotted down 1, 2, 3 books that you mentioned. And I'm like, that what Carla asked was a note that I made to myself, like, how can I read this many books at a time? I don't know if I can listen to them at 3 times the speed. So before we hopped on the call, to give y'all some backstory, I showed them 3 books that I'm reading almost at the same time, but it's hard copies. And so I'm for sure not finishing them in a week. Anywho, so can we go back to touch on another piece of culture that has to do with how important community is to you, G. So it sounded like as soon as you saw that our community needed something at the beginning of the pandemic, you all hopped into action. Is that like a part of the company culture that you all keep the community in mind and impact the community as you grow?
Yeah, so actually our mission is exactly that. We want to impact in the children's side of things, but the why of why I want to build this company to where I want it to go is to impact children, typically in the elementary side. So we want to be in the educational space. So our 5-year plan goes all towards that. So I think everybody understands that community plays a big role. And one of our core values is like treat everyone in the team and outside our team, our customers, everyone that we interact with, in the golden rule. Just be nice. And, we want to treat everyone like we'd like to be treated. So the community is definitely a big part for me because I think the big shift, I'm 29 this year. And the big shift for me was, I think up until like 26, 27, you're kind of like me. I want to make money, I want nice things and so on. And then at the 27 mark for me, at least, was like, all right, what's my significance? Like, why am I here? What am I doing? Right. I'm stable. I feel like financially I'm okay. I'm married. I love my family. I got good pets, like all those things. And then you're kind of getting to that higher level of, all right, what can I do? How can I actually impact the world? And then after thinking about it for a long time, I think that's how TESBROS started. It wasn't to make a load of money. I do think, though, if you are passionate about what you do, that's just a side effect of it, right? I think that comes with it. But I'm very, very passionate about impacting. So pretty much like in a nutshell, like our master plan and end of the road is to supply and also teach children in the STEM program and entrepreneurship, so we can maybe play a small role in bringing the new Elon Musk from Chattanooga or the new Bill Gates or someone that's just a life-changing. Because I think that part of the reason why I have good skills and is because I have a good foundation that was actually all set up for me, at least in my elementary years. I did have access to certain things. And that's kind of what I want to provide for the communities here, not just in Chattanooga, but then eventually globally. I think that's where and along the way, there's like smaller missions, like, we want to promote more sustainability in the vinyl space and the niche that we're in. It just happens to be that Tesla becomes our vehicle, no pun intended.
Awesome. So I love what you said about impacting kids. I was listening to a podcast today, and he mentioned Bill Gates attending a high school that at the time it was the only place that had a computer, like in the country, and how he said it was luck, that he just happened to be at the high school at that time. But the importance of he had access to something that then turned into what we all know now, right? And so I think it's cool that you're thinking about kids at that level. Like it could be a kid that if he just has access to a piece of technology he might not have, that he does develop the next thing that we can't live without. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mary Meg, you're in HR. That's kind of your background. I know all this talk about culture and core values is probably resonating with you. Do you have any questions or comments for G?
Oh, Not really. I'm very impressed. I didn't start my company till I was 30, so it took me a while. I was a late bloomer. So congratulations to you for getting in there early and making it happen. I tell you, the biggest thing right now for HR professionals is with so many people still telecommuting, they are struggling to maintain the culture that was already in place with the company, and trying to create some kind of stabilization of culture when you have such a hybrid workforce with some on site and some off. So is it safe to assume all of your employees are still on site, G, or is it a hybrid?
Most of them are on site. We do have some like BA workers or contractors that are remote, but they're not like a core team member. So we have like 8 core team members. A lot of the work that we do is hard to do remotely because we're actually handling physical products. You know, we had, fortunately, we didn't have like a COVID outbreak within our company. And even when anything happened around COVID, we were able to act very, very fast. We paid everything related to test if it came from our place, and we didn't ever had like no one actually got like infected with it or anything like that. Crossing fingers though.
Yeah, that's a good point, is maintaining culture. It's one that we've talked about as a team. We talk to each other almost every day at the Inc., but maintaining the culture that we were just starting to get right before we shut down. I mean, we were walking through the hallways, slapping high fives, you know, cookie parties, ice cream parties. We were, you know, we knew who was expecting, you know, like, I mean, there was a lot of conversations that we were having that was building this like college dorm feel. I feel like we had just, and a lot of like cross-pollinating of the businesses. So culture has been a really big conversation for us, and it actually it caused me a lot of grief to watch it sort of crumble over the last year. So trying to figure out, you know, maybe we do need to come up with some core values for the building, and maybe that'll keep that momentum. We haven't done that, so I did make a note to consider it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you comfortable sharing your core values?
Yeah.
I remember you did your startup week and they were really good.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah. So our 4 core values is we build customer relationships. We think about the customer at every phase of decision making. Number 2 is we care for others by putting them first and treating them as we'd like to be treated, with honesty and integrity. Number 3 is we're committed to getting things done the right way, even if it's the hard way. And then the 4th one, sorry, my language, but it is we get shit done. We're proactive in identifying issues and creating smart systems to solve them. So those are our 4 top core values.
Ooh, I wonder if I could sneak in a 4-letter word in our core values.
Yeah. Sorry. It was the best word for that core value. So it
has impact.
Yeah, for sure. Instead of like saying we get stuff done, you know, it's like really get it done.
Yeah.
Are those posted on your website?
We do have it in our careers page, but a mentor of mine told me that if you put it around your building or if you put it on a wall, it goes to the wall to die. So instead of actually putting it on a wall, or you know how like those posters that's like perseverance, and then it's like a random image of a guy jumping or something like that, and you're like, what is that thing? What is that supposed to say, right? So instead of putting it on the walls, what we do is every single opportunity that I have to portray the core values, I do it myself. And then also when they did something wrong and we're talking about it and analyzing it, we say, well, this is what we could have done based on our core values. So it's always, that's our North Pole. I mean, or North Star, sorry, not North Pole. North Star, we always look at that and say, this is why we need to do that. You know, same thing in our rap studio. We do services. You know, one of my apprentices, our apprentice was learning. It wasn't the best job. So we handled it. We said, we're going to comp this for the customer, because that's our core value. We're going to treat them like we'd like to be treated. It wasn't the best work, so we're not going to have them pay for it. So those are it always influences our decision in everything we make, from hiring all the way to just even smaller decisions too.
Alexis, if I may.
Of course.
So G, when you were talking about the values and how you reinforce those, one of the things that I encourage our clients to do, and something I've done internally where that's concerned, is when we would have staff meetings, I would ask each employee to go around the table and talk about one instance where something they did, some activity, some interaction with the client, that it pointed back to something in the values, so that we could reinforce the positive things and not focus on where we made a failure. Of course, we want to address the failures, but it was a way for people to kind of toot their own horn, but at the same time live the values and not just, see them on the wall. So I appreciated what you said about, they go on the wall to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
I also pictured those posters with the random pictures. I've seen those in so many, but I think my dad might have even had one in his office. I definitely remember those.
Yeah, they're funny. They don't make sense typically.
Do we have any other questions? Erica, I saw you put your camera on. Do you have one? Do you have a question or comment?
No, I wanted to be on camera the whole time, and one of my top clients just called me and said there might be closing their account, so I had to close real quick and try and save that. So I apologize, but it's been really informative, G. Thanks.
No worries.
Let me check the chat. No questions in the chat. Okay.
Let me ask one more question of G. So what do you think, now that we're not out of the pandemic, but we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel, possibly by the end of this year, what do you think your next great challenge will be?
As a company, there's a lot of challenges, as you know, Mary, but I think it's just cementing our culture, and then cementing, it's always been a challenge for me I don't expect, okay, so I'm trying to get my thoughts together. I don't necessarily expect any of our employees to have the same passion that I do, right? They're not the business owners themselves. But then I'm trying to get them to the point where they don't need me for any of the decision making, and get them to the point where they can make the decisions, and then to the point where I ask them for help. So it's that transition that's difficult, because so many people, that actually everybody that we hired, are so used to just making their bosses happy. And I tell them that I don't care about that at all. So if you're trying to make me happy, that's the wrong way to approach the job. But they're always thinking about, how do I make, G happy or something. It's it has nothing to do with that. It's just do the work. And we set rocks every quarter. And that's pretty much something that's a large boulder that you need to move for our company to move forward, right? So each of them have rocks. That's all we look at. So if you finish your rocks, then we're moving forward. That's just what it is. So it's just, I think that's a big challenge for me, is trying to figure out how to get them there. And I've been reading a lot more leadership books, how to be a good boss, how to motivate and inspire our employees to think further. And then part of it, I think, is to promote awareness, because I think a lot of them don't know how they make decisions. Maybe they're not really aware of how they think either. So just trying to get them there, right? So that's really hard, because it takes a lot of energy out of people and bosses and managers, I think. But I can't do it without them. So I need to get them there. I need to get them to all at a higher level. And that, I think, comes from the leadership and from us. So that's always a challenge. So I'm always trying new things out, continuously asking them, what can we do to do better? How can we push you more? How can we, motivate you more and inspire you more? And, just expecting a very, very high standard in everything that we do. So that's a huge challenge for me that I'm still figuring out, to be honest. And I'm sure that I'll continue to figure out as the company grows. That's always going to be something that I'm learning continuously, right? So it's not something that I'm going to be like, I'm going to figure it out next week.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any others? I see some cameras turned on. Shane, is that how you say your name? Shane Fernandez?
That's right.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised the pronunciation part is important because I get Cheyenne sometimes. I've got Sean's the usual one. So, and I've passed that trait on to my daughter. I spell her name wrong too. So,
it's right for you. It's right for you. Listen, names are important. That's why I started this asking G how to pronounce his name. It's names. You are named your name for a reason. Right? Your power, they carry weight and power. So make sure people get it right and correct them. Yeah. But I'm glad I nailed it the first time. Yeah.
We actually have
yeah. Do you
we'll
have
actually see G in about 20 minutes. So we're meeting him for lunch, but yeah, we wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Oh, nice. Okay. Bruce, do you have any questions, or Andrew?
I am curious about the acceleration of the EV market in general, electric vehicle market. Let's imagine a reality in which Tesla is no longer a dominant player. How do you anticipate adapting to that type of reality, G?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Our name is TESBROS, but actually we ended up changing our name to TESBROS for trademark purposes. And one of the things that I think that we're really good at, and our team is really good at, is we are still small, so we can always pivot really, really quickly. So, in our first stages, it was the e-commerce. So that was like stage one of the business building. And we built this company around Teslas, right? So creating vinyl accessories for Tesla. And then the second level is actually the wrap studio. So this is where we wrap cars, but we don't just do Teslas. Like we're doing a truck today. We did Volkswagen yesterday. We're doing Aston Martin. So we actually are doing much more than Tesla. And then number 3 is media. So we're actually been building our YouTube channel, and we're really slowly growing into the space of vinyl wrapping and protection and ceramic coatings and stuff like that. We're just using Tesla as kind of like that niche that we're specializing in, but then all of these can be used in any other cars. So for us to pivot, because our resources are so tied, it's not tied to just Tesla, I think it will be fairly easy. Definitely a lot of reorgs or like just changing to do. And then our last level, as far as like the business, is going to be we're creating e-courses on how to fully wrap your car by yourself, do yourself. And that's something that's never been done in the history of like wrapping, or if it has been, it hasn't been done the way we were planning to do it. So we're going to make it like a masterclass. You've probably seen the masterclass.com. And we're selling digital products from now on. So think about like the TRX. TRX, when they first came out, it's those exercising bands. When they first came out, all their products were physical goods. They were selling the bands. And then right now, like 4 years ago, 30% of their sales were digital. So we're trying to get that stage where actually now I think it's like 60% of their sales are digital. So we're trying to get into that space where we're actually selling digital courses, and then the hard products or the physical products are what you get once you buy the courses as a kit or something like that. So that's how we're pivoting. We're getting to a Tesla, but if we can prove this model, we're launching April for the paint protection film. If this works, this is something that we can bring out to pretty much the whole auto industry. And if we can do that, that's, we can rebrand and so on. And I think that's the easy part.
So for those of us who don't have a Tesla, what is the whole wrapping thing about? Why is somebody going to pay for that? What does it get them?
There's a lot of reasons to wrap a car. Color typically is status. To wrap a car is $3,000 to $7,000 for color. So it's saying I have money pretty much. So that's a status thing for sure. But then there are other things that are more, I guess, utility based. So there's actually a clear film that protects the car. So it's interesting to see our customers, because sometimes we'll see like just a Ford F-150 come in, and it'll be an old Mustang come in, and then, they want to protect their investment. And I feel like a car oftentimes is so much of a personality thing and an individualism thing. It's a part of their identity oftentimes, right? So it's like protecting themselves. So we have that kind of wrapping. Then we have coatings. Some people don't like washing their car, so we can coat a car so that when you wash your car, the water just beads off. It's hydrophobic. And then we also do, interior wraps or something like that. So it's really the ability for people to express themselves with the medium that they choose to. Some people express their, creativity and other things on social media, perhaps. Some people do it with a vehicle, like a car, right? So that's really, there's various reasons, and it always changes depending on the actual customer. But we're pretty much helping them achieve that.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I have money. When I get my Tesla, I'm gonna be like, I have money. Gee, wrap my ride.
Yeah, we can wrap it like red and then like kind of yellow accents like your glasses,
Yes.
I mean, give it some nice stripes here and there.
Oh yeah. So what are they called? They're rally stripes, right? When they go down the center.
Yeah, we can do that. We do, Chargers all the time for those rally stripes. So yeah, there's so many different things. But the way I look at it too is like, we don't just do luxury vehicles, because like I didn't grow up with money, right? Like my dad was a missionary, and like if they buy a 2021 Corolla, like that's a nice car now, and that's their Ferrari. So every car we wrap we're going to treat it like, even if it's a 1990 some Ford Ranger, like we're going to treat it like it's a Ferrari, whether it is or not, because to them it might be, right? It's their first new car maybe, or it's their, first new car that doesn't break down, because I've been there, and so on. So that, again, it goes back to our core value, right? We treat the customers right.
That's awesome. Are those the wraps behind you, the different colors?
Yeah. So we have a color deck. If you see that, it has all the different types of colors that you can choose from.
Okay.
And then that's some of our current rolls that are on standby. We're doing some red and stuff like that. So there's about probably like 2,000 colors you can choose from, to be honest. Yeah, but you can stretch it. You can wrap anything, practically.
That's awesome. Let's see, where are we on time? 12:43. So our hour is almost up. Are there any final thoughts or questions for G?
G, are you doing like company logos with these wraps as well, or is it just the solid color?
No, we do everything. So so this area right here, this is actually where we do all our wrap stuff. So this space, we can fit about 2 cars. But then I'll show you a little bit of like the production stuff, Erica. So this is where we print stuff. So you'll see our printer over here. So we're doing a graphics right now for an auto mechanic shop, and we can print anything custom pretty much. And these type of material is actually a see-through material. So this goes on windows, and you can see the back through the rear windshield, even though it's a graphic. So it's perforated. So we can do custom stuff. This is a 64-inch wide format printer. We can laminate, and then also we have like this is the machine that we use. It's a big bed pretty much, and it's like a router. And then it can cut practically anything. And that's the machine that we use to cut the face shields as well. So it's like a router machine. So we do all sorts, from full color wraps to commercial logos. But typically it is definitely a lot more Teslas and EVs and color wrapping for the most part.
Cool. Thanks for the tour.
Yeah. Well, if we don't have any more questions, then we'll finish a little bit early. G, thank you. I was looking forward to this talk because I felt like Even though it was a panel during Startup Week, I felt like you were a shining star on the panel. Everybody was, but it was great to follow up with you, and congratulations on your little one arriving in September. Did you say?
Yeah, September.
Yeah, I shouldn't bring it up.
If you guys have any advice in life, I'm open. My email's g@TESBROS, so send those life advices away.
Let me tell you, life will become an adventure with kids. Yeah. It's still the same. You just got to approach it differently. You'll love it. It's the biggest.
Yeah, every day my brain is like on panic mode, saying like, you got to move faster.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't think that ever goes away. Mine are 13 and 2.5, but
yeah,
you learn to live with it.
The part of your brain that's telling you to go faster is going to allow you to go slower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good word, Carla. All right. Well, you all, thank you so much for joining us for Experience Talks for our Power Hour. And we'll see you again next month, same time, first Wednesday of the month.